Good evening. Where I live in Nebraska, we happen to be suffering a significant snow day, and I'm stuck in the house all night and probably tomorrow as well with this box of snack crackers, this block of pepper jack cheese, and this Y-handled vegetable peeler and julienne slicer from Ohuhu. I hope I pronounced the name of that corporation correctly because it really sounds like the punchline of a dirty joke. I apologize if I mispronounced it. I've only ever seen it written down. But since I have all of this today, I figured this is as good a time as any to give a presentation on this device. It has two adjustable blades, swinging blades here, one over here. Can you really, yeah, kind of see it. It comes across kind of blurry. This one's a julienne slicer, so you get the very thin strips out of your vegetables, your carrots or your cucumbers or whatever. This one over here is a vegetable peeler. As you can see, I've already used it this evening as a cheese knife. It also has on the corners here a couple of eye gouges so that when you have a potato, when you're peeling it and you get an eye, you can just kind of stick it in and take out the eye and not have to deal with having a second knife at hand. It works pretty much the same as the adjustable head vegetable peeler that your mama probably had. I know mine did. I need to stress before I go into this demonstration that this is not a cheese knife. I'm using cheese for my demonstration today because it happens to be what I have. But as you can see here, when I peel off a strip of cheese, I always get a bit of a chunk falling off the back end. That probably reflects more the cheese, which here has an unusual amount of rennet in it, and you can actually still see the whole curds in this locally made organic cheese. That's an issue of manufacture of the cheese, not of the knife. This is not a cheese knife, but the cheese makes a decent demonstration of how the blade works. So I set it down here. The blade adjusts itself to the lay of the cheese, and I do that and cheese breaks right in two, so I guess this is the last chance I have to do this demonstration. Here's hoping I don't need a retake. But as you can see, it creates a very thin slice, which is good if you're peeling vegetables. You want to take the peel off, but leave as much of the meat of the vegetable behind as possible. Very thin, almost kind of, doesn't really come across here, does it? I hold it up to the light and it's so thin it's translucent. Nice shape, nice thickness. Pardon me. Nice texture. Creates a decent slice off of my piece of cheese. As I say, I'm using cheese for my demonstration here this evening because I'm stuck in the house and cheese is what I happen to have. But I used this on my carrots a couple of nights ago. It came out with a very thin peel that left the meat of the carrot intact. And then I took the julienne slicer, and so I got some nice aesthetically pleasing strips that I could put in my stew. And it came out with a nice texture, nice consistent, even shape. So although the cheese is what I have, I've found that this works perfectly well on my vegetables. I haven't had a chance to use potatoes yet, but it worked perfectly well for my vegetables. The heads here, as you can see, they pivot just like a standard peeler does to create the best possible contact with your vegetables. And the handle's a little bit quirky because it's very short. Maybe that reflects the size of my hands, which aren't, as you can see, very small. I have kind of big hands. But the handle is shorter than I would like, so I actually have a little difficulty getting traction as I use the device. That's a little bit of a shortcoming, so I have to adjust. And this thing, it moves about 45 degrees which limits my ability to place my hands as I'm trying to compensate for the short handle. So that's a bit of a quirk. But the blade itself, I have been nothing but pleased with the blade itself. Handle is a little wonky, and I'm just noticing as I talk for the first time that the two sides of the Y handle actually aren't in the handle itself the same depth. So here's hoping that's not going to become a problem as I continue using it in the future. But it hasn't been so far. I mean, I just noticed it right now while I was talking to you, so it can't be that bad, right? So this is a good but not perfect peeler. It is a good blade, good application to your vegetables, but the handle is kind of short and requires some workarounds. So you're going to have to come up with some appropriate ways to deal with that. That's on you. But if you're looking for a decent peeler and julienne slicer, why not? It's worked for me.